From euphoric, dreamlike dramas about high school teens doing boatloads of drugs to reality series about 30 somethings blindly dating each other through a brick wall, TV has never been more creative and occasionally strange as it is right now. And so today we thought we'd take a look at three brand new series that exemplify creativity on the small screen. Kwam, why don't you kick us off with one of the shows you're enjoying right now?
Thanks, David. So one of the shows that I'm really enjoying right now is Bel-Air. So as David mentioned, we are in a strange time with TV. TV's been around for how long? Like 100 years, I think. Like, Brad, look up when was the first TV show televised, please. And thank you. But so TV's been around for a long time, and you have to do something new. And we live in a world of reboots and remakes. And after a while, you think it can get a little stale. But Bel-Air is not a reboot. It's not a remake. It's a reimagining, and it takes the old Fresh Prince and just completely reimagines it as a drama, which I thought was just so interesting because I'm a huge Fresh Prince fan. I love Will Smith. He's up there with like my Philly heroes, which like right behind like maybe Allen Iverson, and or maybe even in front of Allen Iverson. I don't know. I have to go think about that for myself. But I love the original Fresh Prince, and when I heard they were like remaking it, I was like, that's interesting. And then I saw it actually started because of a fan made trailer where I'm blanking on the original director's name, but he made essentially what turned into Bel-Air as a fan made show. What would it look like as a drama? And when I first saw it, I was thinking like that's interesting, but it's not. That's not my Fresh Prince. Hashtag not my Fresh Prince. But when you actually watch the show, it is done so well, and it who would have thought that a show that originally started as a 90s sitcom would translate so well as a pretty contemporary drama. And it's the acting is incredible. It's shot so beautifully. And then the best part about the show is that it still has elements from the original Fresh Prince. So if you're like a huge fan of the original show, there will be Easter eggs and plot lines that still correlate with the new remake, but it's just done in a different way. And so I love Bel-Air, and I think it's such a fresh take on remakes and reboots because it's not essentially doing what others done. It's essentially flipping it on its head and almost putting it to the other side of the spectrum. If you're talking about a comedy, that's probably like left field. Drama's on the very opposite end. And so I just love what they've done with Bel-Air. It's such a creative show. It's such a creative take on the whole Fresh Prince, and it's kind of made it its own universe now. Like now, I want to see all these 90s sitcoms remade into dramas like Martin. I don't know what it'd be called, but I'm just so impressed with this show.
Yeah, and I think we actually have a clip of it if we want to roll that and take a look.
Damn! Jeffrey Thompson, house manager.
Will!
Oh, Viv! 10 years is a long time.
Let me show you around.
Where them dimes at?
Hillary! Let's go find you something fit for a prince.
What do you think?
I made you look.
Yo, Uncle Phil! I'm glad you're safe. We'll talk later.
Cousin Will!
Yo! Is this really baby Ashley?
You're a long way from home, Mom.
Oh, Tim. How you been?
You know, thriving. I hope one day we can talk about why you're really here.
So Bel-Air, it's such an amazing show, as you can see from the clip. It's so much fun, and if you get a chance to watch it, it's on Peacock right now. So definitely tune in.
Yeah, and Kwam, there was some discussion about like the new characterizations, like the new Carlton and the new Uncle Phil, new Aunt Viv, like all of how they compare to the previous characters. How do you feel about the casting and the way these new characters are portrayed?
I actually really love it because while they're different, the essence is still the same. Like I don't think I'm spoiling anything here, especially if you've seen the original. For Carlton's character, when Will and Carlton first, meet, when Will first comes to, Bel-Air, they really butt heads. In the comedy or the 90s sitcom, it's not played up as much as in this new remake, but the dynamic is still there. Same thing with Uncle Phil. I mean, the new Uncle Phil, he isn't, as comedic as the old Uncle Phil, which is a given since it's not a comedy. But the same essence of Uncle Phil is still there, where he's caring but still very dominant, where he's an understanding father, but also realizes and understands that his children and Will need to be pushed to really achieve what they want to achieve. And so while the characters are a little different, they're still the same character, not the same characters, but they have the same essence of what it really meant for those characters.
Great. Well, I've been enjoying it as well, and it's on Peacock right now, so check that out. Landon, what is the I know, and I'm really excited for you to talk about it, the creative show that you're into right now.
I am crushing Murderville on Netflix. And it was a suggestion from David and another one of our producers. So before I even talk about it, let's roll the clip so you guys can get an idea.
What do we got here?
Stab wounds in her upper back.
Tough time imagining with just the outline. Ken, get in the position and slowly be dying too. You got to keep track of the evidence. You have a notepad?
For Terry Seattle, every day means a new murder case and a new celebrity partner.
You ready to solve a crime?
Ready.
Scream it!
I'm ready to solve a crime!
Let's go! Forget how strong I am. I want you to think of this as your crime scene.
There's been a murder. Whoa!
You're supposed to gasp. Weird gasp.
So as you can see from that clip, and maybe you couldn't see, it is a absolute try at something new, and I think it's fantastic. I'm a big murder mystery type guy. I love a nice Lifetime series, but this is Will Arnett at his driest and finest. And so the premise, if you couldn't take from the show, is Will Arnett is Terry Seattle. And let me just stop there. I love a good fake name, and Terry Seattle is electricity. And Will Arnett is just this dry detective that has to solve a murder mystery every day, and he brings in a celebrity who has to just go with the flow. They have no clue what's going on. They have to improvise everything. So you get people such as Conan. I'm not the biggest Conan fan. I thought Conan was hilarious on this. You get Kumail Nanjiani. You get Marshawn Lynch. So you just get these different characters, and they're all in there making you laugh, solving. They all have fake names. You have no clue what's going to come next. Some of the murders are, I say, laugh out loud funny. Some of them are just like the most odd things. You get this one scene where Will Arnett has an old crush and he just can't control himself. So he makes Kamal do what he calls his ugly walk to kind of embarrass himself. It just, the show has so many twists and turns, and it really opens your eyes to the idea that the future of television might just, as Quam noted, taking a 90s comedy and turning it into a dramedy. Just taking one show that starts as a horror or one show that starts as a mystery and turning it into something you laugh at, and it's still the same premise, but you're watching it in a different vein. And I thought this show, hats off Netflix. I thought this was a great attempt at creating a new show, and I do hope it holds. And I'll just throw it in there, a massive Will Arnett fan. So I thought he just played the life out of this.
And it's really fun to play along with. I mean,
fun.
The end game of every episode is that there are 3 suspects, and the celebrity guest has to guess who the murderer was. And you get mostly the same clues they do through what they're saying or little things hanging on the wall. So you get to guess who the murderer is along with them. And I want to reiterate what you said, is that everyone on the show has a script except for the celebrity guest, who has literally no idea what's going to happen, and they have to play along with the whole thing. And I saw an interview with Conan where he talked about getting invited on the show and said, I really didn't know. Will Arnett called me, asked me if I wanted to do it. I said yes. They put me in the train, every celebrity guest as a detective trainee. He's like, they put me in this vest. I go into a room and they say, when I tap you in the shoulder, you walk into this room. And he's like, that's what I knew. I walked into the room and suddenly I have to solve this crime. I had no idea. He said, I even Conan had said, I haven't watched my episode yet, but apparently I was saluting a lot to everybody in the room and I didn't even realize it.
It's so creative.
One of the other things, it's great. And one of the other things I love about it is that these are, like, for the most part, very funny people being funny. And it's almost like they're playing a game where they're trying to make each other laugh, and they don't cut the breaks out. Like, Conan makes some of the cast members like laugh, and they let it go because it just shows you the genius of how funny these people are, that they can make others break. And Will Arnett breaks. If Will Arnett breaks, you know you've done something. And you know what? Although I loved Conan, I think Marshawn Lynch was kind of the MVP. Like, he was so game to be on that show.
David, if you have not YouTubed things Marshawn Lynch has done off the field, the guy, he can't miss.
Iconic.
He cannot miss. Talk about a person who doesn't even have to get into character because his character is his persona. He's unbelievable. He makes you laugh without even trying because he has no filter, and he will say exactly what comes to mind. If you watch his episode, you will very clearly see that. But he just is laugh out loud funny, and he loves Skittles, and Skittles are delicious. So, I mean, it all comes together.
Well, I have a show of my own that I'm really excited about, and I just watched. It is a brand new animated series called The Boys Diabolical, which premieres today on Prime Video. Let's take a quick look at that clip.
Go away!
Homelander, what made you decide to join up with Vaughn? Chance to use my gifts to help make the world a better place.
Come on in. Not like this can look bad to anyone.
Oh, you guys really suck, huh?
The idea is that the outer you will finally match the inner you. Picture the face you want to have, the life you want to have.
So if you're unfamiliar with the live action series, The Boys, the show is set in a world where crime fighting as a superhero has more or less been privatized. Superheroes are celebrities who are marketed and sold by a large corporation called Vought. And the superheroes are also massive narcissists, mostly corrupt, probably kill more people than they actually save. But there's a group of anti-heroes who call themselves the Boys, who keep these crooked capes in check. And so many of us, Xfinity Editors, are huge fans of it, eagerly awaiting season 3 eventually. But in the time being, The Boys Diabolical is set in the same universe and features 8 standalone episodes about characters that are both superpowered and decidedly not superpowered. Each episode runs about 12 minutes long, which is one of the really cool things. I breezed through this entire season in a couple hours. I do the math. I don't know, 2 hours, 1 hour, 8, a little over an hour. I don't know. What's math? What are numbers?
What year is it? Right back to it. What is
who
time?
Knows?
Numbers.
And each episode is written and animated by a different creative team. So there's an episode done by Seth Rogen and Evan Goldberg, Justin Roiland of Rick and Morty fame, Alana Glazer from Broad City, Aquafina, Aisha Taylor, Andy Samberg, or Aisha Tyler, sorry, and Andy Samberg. But my favorite episode of the bunch is absolutely this episode called Laser Babies Day Out by Seth Rogen and Evan Goldberg, which is very reminiscent of Disney's Roger Rabbit and Baby Herman cartoon short called Tummy Trouble that played before Honey, I Shrunk the Kids when it opened in theaters in 1989. It has that same opening, same feel, and it follows this this superhero baby in training who has laser eyes, but she can't hone them correctly and only blasts the lasers if she burps or farts, and the chaos that causes, and then the baby escapes. I'm also a big fan of Awkwafina's episode called BFFs, in which she ingests the chemical that is meant to turn her into a superhero instead of injecting it. And so instead of becoming super, she creates a super-powered pile of poop and that runs amok. So this, needless to say, this series is not for children. It is very violent and crude and bloody, very much like The Boys itself. And if you've seen Invincible on Prime Video, or you're familiar with an old internet cartoon series called Happy Tree Friends, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about, where someone just gets their face ripped off and in animation, and it's both funny and horrifying, and very, very creative. I love the idea of like 12 different stories created by 12 different creative teams. Every episode's a new experience, and it doesn't take a lot of your time. So
it's awesome.
Really,
How
really
many
vibed
episodes?
with it.
8. Wait, 12 minutes, 8. Okay. I was going back and doing that math.
Doing the math for me?
And yeah, I was trying to figure out how long is this show. But okay.
About an hour and a half.
And 44 minutes, I was going to say, yeah. Who's counting?
Thanks.
Just numbers.
Who's
Brad? Brad got it for me. Brad, just let me know.
Thanks, Brad. So to check out all the series we just talked about, simply say what to watch into your voice remote.